What do you learn from Jocko?
Jocko's concepts are really similar, or sorry, really simple, I should say, but they're not always easy. And he's got a book called Extreme Ownership. He's got a couple books, but I think the first one was called Extreme Ownership. And what that was essentially looking for what is, I guess, your fault in anything that goes wrong, or something that's under your control in anything that goes wrong. And so it's actually a really empowering concept because if you look at something that happens to you, like this person stole from me and then they kicked me out of the company and it's so unfair and wah, wah, wah. If you look for the part that you contributed to that, even if it's minor, like you trusted them and you shouldn't have. Okay, well, the answer can't be don't trust anyone. How do I repair the criteria that I use to trust people? Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Well, how did they get away with that? Well, they did this thing where I relied on them for this, and I decided not to put it in writing because it was going to be uncomfortable to have a conversation with a lawyer. Well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So you find these little things where even if you've really been dealt a bad hand, you can find places where you could have controlled it. Even if that answer is, I never should have hired this person because a bunch of people told me that they were bad and I just didn't listen, or I shouldn't have been so trusting. As long as you don't make yourself the victim in that situation and you find areas where you could control things, you actually end up really empowered and you end up, I should say, in a position where you can at least try not to repeat that same mistake. So even if you have, let's say you have bad metabolism and you've gained weight, but you have a medical reason because you injured your knee. Well, okay, but I still gained weight. Why? Well, the way that I shop didn't change after I injured my knee. So even though I couldn't move as much and do all the sports I love, I was still buying Cheetos and Coke and drinking it for lunch and having a bag of Cheetos and Fritos every night, which sounds delicious, by the way. So I didn't change my eating habits. Okay, so it's like maybe 80% not your fault because you got injured and you had a metabolic disease, but also you didn't change your habits. Okay, so I can change my habits. Doesn't mean you're going to lose all the weight and be back to where you were, but it means that you are now taking control of the situation because you can't wish your metabolism better and you can't wish your knee injury to go away. But you can change your environment, change the way you shop, change the way you look at food or think about food, whatever. So whenever you start to think that something is happening to you that's totally outside your control, all you have to do is sort of go up the timeline or upstream and find the places where you could control things in the future or could have done something differently, not to beat yourself up like, oh, I shouldn't have ever done X, but just to find the places where you can modify behavior or thinking patterns or whatever it is in the future. And that turns out to be really empowering because then whenever something happens to you, all you have to do is pay attention and analyze what went wrong, do a post-mortem on the situation, and you can maybe come up with some really useful stuff to not have that happen to you again. Because wishing that bad things would never happen to you in life is futile. Complaining and beating yourself up about bad things that happen to you in life is also it's not good for you and it's pointless. But figuring out why or how bad things have happened to you and then figuring out how to avoid those or change the outcome or whatever in the future is a very, very useful exercise.
Would you say that impacted you personally? Because I kind of feel like you're probably quite a, let's say, capable person at that point anyway. So would you say that it had an impact on you personally or not?
The interview with Jocko where we talked about this, yeah, I would say so because I think it's really human to go, oh, well, this unfair thing happened to me and it's really woe is me and this all sucks and there's nothing that can be done, so I'm just going to whine about it and then allow it to mean that bad things happen to good people and wah wah wah, and I think that's very human. I don't think it's even a bad thing that people do that. It's just totally a normal thing. I don't think it's the most helpful thing. I think better is to go, okay, that happened to me. This is not good, but it's something I can survive. Other people have survived far worse. I'm going to come out the other side much stronger, but not just like, I'm going to come out the other side much stronger. Yay, pat myself on the back. But okay, I'm going to come out the other side much stronger. Here's why. Okay, where did I go wrong? Even if you got to travel really far upstream because you really didn't do anything to deserve what happened to you and you have to find some place. It's like, oh, okay, maybe where I went wrong was not having the self-confidence to start the business on my own. Therefore, I looked for a partner. Therefore, when I found a partner who maybe I thought was kind of a shyster, I still accepted them and their behavior because I didn't have the confidence to start the business on my own. And that's not something you need to beat yourself up for, but it's a really good insight to have for yourself if you are that person. if that's indeed true, because otherwise you could easily repeat that mistake, right? Your business partner screws you over. Okay, well, wham, business partner screw you over. But if you still have that same confidence issue where you think, but I can't just rebuild this on my own, I need a partner, you're going to make that same mistake again. And I've been in those shoes where I've had business partners do bad things and try to sue me when I left and all this stuff. And I thought, oh no. And then I jumped right back into another partnership with somebody else. And my wife was like, what are you doing? Just do this on your own. And I'm like, I can't. It's too hard. There's too much work. And she's like, this guy's also a piece of crap. What are you doing? You're just repeating the same mistake. And I thought, that's a really, really good point. So I just ditched that person and started over. And it was the best thing ever. But it was tough because I had to come to the realization that, like, oh, I'm relying on other people to sort of outsource the confidence in building this business when I really can do it on my own. And that was a really good realization. But I wouldn't have come to that without, one, the panel of other people telling me, and two, being able to take extreme ownership by going really far up the chain and thinking about, okay, why did I do this? You know, why am I thinking like this? What part did I play in this really unfair thing that happened to me? Because even my lawyers and the judge were like, wow, this guy really got screwed over. It's really a crappy situation. And I thought, okay, yes, good. They all agree. But I could have stopped there and been like, everyone thinks that I got screwed over, so I'm right. Yes, it's true, but also, what's my real takeaway from this? The real takeaway isn't these people are bad and I'm a victim. The real takeaway is you can always control something next time. And what you find to control is you just have to really examine your situation and go really, really far upstream. Because sometimes it has nothing to do with those other people or whatever the situation is. Sometimes it's a mindset that you adopted when you were a kid that got you into this situation of getting into, let's say, relationships with bad people. You know, if you find yourself dating terrible guys, you know, or women, whatever. But, you know, a lot of women will say, I date terrible guys. I have terrible taste in guys. Okay. Well, is it the guy's fault that you're picking them? Yes, it's their fault that they're abusing you or mistreating you. That's definitely their fault. But what is it that you are doing or have done, or a mindset that you have, and you probably need to work this out with a therapist if you're in this situation, where you're attracting those people into your life and then tolerating their behavior in the beginning to the point where it escalates into something really bad. And you know, it's controversial to say that because people go, you're victim blaming. It's like, well, no, I'm not blaming you. I'm just asking you to maybe understand where you can control things in the future and avoid these same problems. But people don't want to do that because extreme ownership is extremely uncomfortable.